The government's treatment for journalists or anyone who is producing content is still the same. Surveillance, suppression, you are either a propagandist or you're dead.
We work in a dangerous profession where people lose their lives, where people's lives are at risk. Are we a free and democratic society if we don't have a free press? Who is going to hold authorities to account?
Before the uprising, there were two paths for those who decide to be journalists. You are either doing cultural, lights, something economical, or you are detained or in exile. There is nothing that you can do on the political sphere, or like even in-depth investigation on corruption would get you in prison. I wrote something. It was an op-ed actually about fear, how we're raised to be scared of everything. I was dragged into the military security forces and interrogated. So even when you're working on social affairs, nothing related to politics, nothing challenging the government, you're still being harassed, interrogated, being treated as a threat. After the uprising, the positive thing that happened is the alternative media that started to be in the atmosphere. They were speaking about the uprising, but at the same time they even spoke about the violations that were committed by the armed groups. They were providing, for the first time ever, an objective professional coverage for Syria. I couldn't go back to any area that's controlled by the regime because that means me being captured and being killed under torture. That's like that's the only thing that would have happened if I go back to the regime-controlled areas. So I decided to stay in the areas which are controlled by rebels. And then again, because I'm independent, because I couldn't but speak loudly about the violations that those militias were committing, I started getting plenty of threats. And then when I supported the Charlie journalists who were killed by ISIS, those threats became so severe on me and my family, and they forced me to leave. I did self-censor myself for so long, and my main trauma now is not the war, is not the barrel bombs, is not all these atrocities that I've witnessed. My main trauma now is caused by me being turned from a free, powerful woman journalist into a very weak, dependent woman.
They came to my house, 8 security men, and they was armed. They took me to the notorious Evin prison in Tehran. It's very, very bad prison. Even in the food, even in the climate, in everything. My daughter, the security forces banned her to study and arrested my son that was studying in Damascus University. It was very difficult for me, but I continue to struggle for my life, for the freedom of speech, for the right of the people to express freedom.
For the government to take down a journalist, they will use the same law they will use for terrorism. Will use technique they have to suppress, to abuse the law. So if I manage to be in Cameroon, the first thing to do is try to reorganize, because at the moment we are lacking a strong voice, a unanimous, a united voice for the media. That's the main problem we have in Cameroon.
Slaughter in Loughin Island as loyalist terrorists shoot 11 people in the back as they watch the World Cup on television.
There was just a sense that something wasn't right.
Somebody somewhere helped these people cover this up.
Shortly after the film premiered, the Police Service of Northern Ireland released a statement to say that they would investigate the allegations made in the film. What was of concern to us at that time was police indicated that the main line of their inquiry would be to investigate the source of the leaked report. We did have concerns that police were more concerned about finding the source of the leak rather than the actual people who carried out the atrocity, carried out the murders. I have concerns about the senior police officers who thought it was better to arrest journalists rather than to ask journalists to cooperate in the normal way. Instead, we were arrested in front of family and neighbours and taken away and to a serious crime suite in Belfast and held for 14 hours.
This man was taken away from his wife and his children this morning. It's not fair. It's not fair. And it's an attack on the press. Everybody should realise it's us today. Tomorrow it could be you.
I believe it sets a dangerous precedent that journalists are fair game. Who's left to hold people in authority to account?
To be frank, I don't even know what freedom is on all levels. Press freedom, expression freedom, political freedom, not anything, not even the social one. I've been suppressed all my life on all levels. I would never take freedom as granted. I think this is a daily fight, and it's not an easy one.
When you're threatened actually by the organs of the state, well, that's just unacceptable. The authorities should be defending an open democracy, open media, not attacking it.